Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you. That's depending where you are. In the world, I'm in London doing the devotional. You should be the night time, but I didn't do it last night. The devotional is Christ Triumphant. The title today: Leaders with various talents are needed in God's church. 1 Chronicles 28, verse 8. Keep and seek for all the commandments of the Lord your God, that you may possess this good land and leave it for an inheritance for your children after you forever. The last great work of David in his official position was to call the attention of the people once more to their solemn relation to God as subjects of his theocracy. Fidelity to God is required for the reception of the blessings that he has promised to impart to all who obey his instruction. All who are accepted in his service are required to do his commandments. If with heart and mind and soul they do his holy will, they become representatives of his kingdom. David's solemn charge should be kept in mind by those who are in positions of trust today, for it is verily binding upon. It is as verily binding upon these people as it was upon Solomon at the time it was given. In this, our day of probation, God's people are being tested and tried as surely as they were in the days of Solomon. The whole chapter, 1 Chronicles 28, is of importance to all the people of God living in this age. God's service is not committed to one person's judgment and option, but is divided among those who are willing to labour interestedly and self-sacrificingly. Thus all, according to the skill and ability God has given them, bear the responsibilities that he has appointed to them. The important interests of a great nation were entrusted to leaders whose talents fitted them to handle these responsibilities. Some were chosen to direct the business affairs. Others were chosen to look after spiritual matters connected with the worship of God. All the religious service and every branch of the business was to bear the signature of heaven. Holiness unto the Lord was to be the motto of the labourers in every department. It was regarded as essential that everything be conducted with regularity, propriety, fidelity, and dispatch. To all who are engaged in his service, the Lord gives wisdom. The tabernacle to be born in the wilderness and the temple at Jerusalem were built in accordance with special instructions from God. In the very beginning, he was particular as to the design and the accomplishment of his work. In this age of the world, he has given his people much light and instruction in regard to how his work is to be carried forward on an elevated, refined, ennobling basis. The title again: Leaders with various talents are needed in God's church. So it starts off, the last great work of David was to call the people back to God as the one true living God, and to be faithful to him. And you must be faithful To receive your blessings, you must be obedient. It's like having a child. You don't want to award the child and bless them all the time if they're not obedient and they're not good children. Because if they're continually disobedient, you need to punish them or discipline them all the time. But if they're good children, they do what you ask them to do, the way you ask them to do it, when you ask them to do it. Yes, they can develop their own character and personality, but they still need to be respectful and obedient. And they will receive all the rewards that's coming to them. And that's the same as our God. And this now goes to the church. David, or Solomon I should say, David had all the instructions and Solomon put them in place. Building the temple was to the exact detail God had given David to give to Solomon. How it worked was to the exact instruction how God gave David to Solomon. The priests in the temple, the Levites, the high priest, everything to the detail was done as God had instructed. And that is also how our churches should be run. Someone who's doing the finances should be doing it to their best ability, and God will give them further ability if they're doing it in the right way, for the right reason. Elders, deacons, people who greet you at the door, pastors, leaders of different departments. First of all, they should have or be willing to learn the gift of what is needed to run that department, be in that department. And they should be doing it for the right reason. Leaders of the churches, the elders, the pastors. Many churches are pilfering the money for their own gain. Many churches themselves are putting money in stocks and investments and shares, or putting money behind various other organizations. And it's not for God's service. I'm not going to mention too much about a certain big global church that's just got a new leader who dresses in white. But they were hugely behind the mafia back in the day. And Vegas, how Vegas got started. And they're hugely behind the importation and deportation of young people. I'm not going to use the other term because I don't want to be considered going against community guidelines here. They're also behind the whole alphabet community, as was Obama, as are many leaders. The whole Black Lives Matters thing, that was all, again, about the alphabet community. It wasn't about black people. Also, that whole when Black Lives Matter started, it was all about Daniel Cain, his campaigning. But I'm coming off the whole devotion. I was talking about the church and the inappropriation of the funds that they get. The people that serve in the church, why are they there? They say a church is a hospital for sinners. Yes, in many a case that is. But there should also be doctors and nurses who are very healthy that should be helping lead. And that is not always the case. Leaders with various talents are needed in God's church. Your church should find out the talents of its members and then appropriate those talents to help the church, if the members are willing. Don't be a painter decorator, very good at your job, then you start charging the church to decorate the church. Using God's money to pay you to paint God's church. No. If you're going to help the church, do it with a willing heart. Whatever it is you do, building, decorating, cooking, whatever it is, do it with a willing heart.